Although I managed to keep it at bay during the pandemic, I got COVID a few weeks ago. Avoiding antibiotics, I trusted my instincts, doing what always worked for me. And while that began with taking plenty of rest, it also included 172 and another 48-hour fast. Wanting to get back to uploading on this channel, I decided to share this little experience such as what I learned from this and my previous multi-day fasts. Surprisingly, a person who enjoys my content also wanted me to do such a video, having perfect timing. For this, I'd like to give Mikael a shout out. He wants to learn more about 72-hour fasts and meal timing. So let me begin with the first by clarifying my content is purely for educational and/or entertaining purposes. I'm neither a doctor nor a medical professional. I'm merely sharing my perspective as someone staying on OMAD for about a decade while using extended fasts occasionally. Please do not take anything I say as a medical advice. Health, COVID, personal experience. Besides unbearable fatigue and inability to do anything, COVID also gave me very high temperature. While that felt very bad, it was no longer a thing around the 50th hour of my 3-day fast. It is important to note I was by no means cured nor without temperature at that point. Nonetheless, I was able and actually wanted to move around. Also to go for a walk at the local park and to do things like cleaning. The most significant and quickest improvement occurred during those 3 days of not eating. Then I had a meal, felt my recovery somewhat staggered and did another 48 to 56 hour fast. After that, I felt virtually recovered but drained, having slightly elevated temperature. I could train, so I did a home leg session with a lower volume, and the next or the day after I was entirely healed and fully functioning. The reason I'm sharing this is that I recovered much quicker than some relatives and acquaintances who actually used antibiotics. Sure, it might be argued that I'm very active and train a lot. On the contrary, I know people who do the same, yet when they got it, they needed twice as long to recover from COVID. Unlike them, I had a negative test in about a week, feeling a lot better with almost no treatment. I was also already hitting the gym and grinding, and in 10 days I even trained with my typical volume, frequency and intensity. Now, whether my fasting helped, I cannot say with absolute certainty. Apparently, I'm not a scientist able to test my results. What I can do is share them with you and look at some science. Studies. The longer we fast, the more our bodies trigger processes like autophagy, burning toxic proteins and damaged cells. Also, the more readily they combat illnesses including viral infections. Fasting boosts immunity and according to numerous studies, it lowers inflammation while increasing antioxidants, and the longer you fast, the more it does that. A 2022 study by Dr. Benjamin Horn, published in the BMJ journals, showed that intermittent fasting is in fact associated with lower risks of hospitalization or mortality in patients with COVID-19, also with less severe complications, hence it could be used for immune support during and after the pandemic. In another study published on nature.com, Karagiannis et al. Showed how beta-hydroxybutyrate or BHB, aka the blood ketone your body uses for fuel, improves COVID-19 outcomes. Moreover, the study showed how BHB reprograms CD4 plus T cells, which are crucial for achieving an effective immune response to pathogens and increasing immunity in COVID-19. This is very important because BHB is precisely what your body starts producing when you fast for long enough. As long as for multi-day fasts other health benefits, they deserve another video, so let me know whether you'd like to see such content on this channel. Other than that, please refer to the works of people like Jason Funk, Rob Wolf, Jimmy Moore and others. Also to the first portion of my first book, OMAD Gains. Body recomposition and multi-day fasts. Right off the bat, multi-day fasts get you leaner extremely fast. I simply cannot stress this enough. As a natural bodybuilder, OMAD is my sweet spot. It effortlessly allows me to look, let's say, good enough naked while increasing muscle maturity and density. On the other hand, nothing compares to extended fasting regarding purely getting shredded. Even for 2 to 3 days, prolonged fasting always makes me noticeably leaner, increasing separation and definition. Writing this now, I regret not having the iPhone 14 Pro, the unboxing of which you can watch in this video during my last 2 and 3 day fasts. It would have been cool to capture the difference in my physique. Though completely sedentary for the time being, I got remarkably leaner. That included more visible arteries in my inner and upper pecs, veins on my inner thighs, etc. Better skin. Even more than OMAD, multi-day fasts also make your skin look fabulous. My girlfriend remains impressed by my skin, especially when she considers I never used any skincare and always shave my body without shaving foam. This is also important because no matter how much lean mass you have, your skin always affects how your muscles look, and multi-day fasts improve your skin tremendously, making it thinner, so what you have built can really stand out. How to fast for 3 or more days. Simple as it sounds, there are 2 keys to a successful multi-day fast. As reiterated in my first book, those are having stable blood glucose and not being hungry for the time being. You can fast for as long as you want, as long as you have those. What I suggest is gradually reaching that stage by suppressing your appetite and achieving high metabolic flexibility. Just become highly fat adapted and capable of switching fuel sources, make eating OMAD as natural as breathing, do a few 48-hour fasts and you'll be there. There is no need to rush into anything. Remember, patience is required, willpower isn't. How not to fast for longer and shorter time frames. Willpower and fasting. Likely the worst when getting into longer or even shorter fasts, or anything for that matter, is having delusions about relying on willpower. In her bestseller, The Willpower Instinct, Kelly McGonigal unravels that despite being miraculous and, quote, making us individuals in a society, willpower is a limited resource. Once spent, it makes you dysfunctional by causing conditions like willpower depletion and decision fatigue. Now, this isn't to discourage you that you will not be able to pull it off. Maybe you will. On the contrary, that won't last, and for the time being you'll be cranky, moody, severely unproductive and basically starving. You might also expect jitters or feeling like fainting due to having blood sugar dysregulations, meaning that even if you succeed temporarily, all your activities will suffer. In my first and second book, I liken using willpower to being on a budget. You won't be able to pay your bills at the end of the month if you spend all that on something stupid the first week. Identically, you won't be fit to study, perform or master that new skill you want if you spend all your willpower on food-related dilemmas. A more modern perspective on willpower is that of Toronto's psychology professor Michael Inslick and Nir Eyal, the author of bestsellers like Indestructible and Hooked. According to them, since there isn't an existing resource or substance to be spent, willpower isn't limited. Instead, it's an emotion that ebbs and flows, having its ups and downs. Considering that, I bet we all wonder what happens when willpower is on the lower and one attempts to use it to control hunger. Whatever perspective you find more sense-making or reasonable doesn't matter. The bottom line is that willpower has enormous limitations and therefore it is very unreliable. And this is precisely why books like James Clear's Atomic Habits, BJ Fogg's Tiny Habits, and Benjamin Hardy's Willpower Doesn't Work all became such a colossal success. That includes outperforming others, explaining all failure with the mere lack of discipline and willpower without even defining what there is and where it comes from. They all convey one fundamental rule based on practicality and science and not idealistically romanticizing discipline or willpower. To succeed at anything, you must build a habit. Making that happen requires starting small, breaking it into tiny segments you can readily and religiously engage in. Only then you won't need willpower, so the little habits grow, becoming part of your identity independently. Proper nutrition. Apparently, nutrition plays a huge role in fasting. A diet that keeps stable blood glucose and triggers the release of the satiety signals CCK and PYY does miracles in supporting your aims for longer fasts. Nonetheless, I don't think that replaces the mentioned gradual adaptation and small steps. Personal experience. Like many others, I started with 2 meals and ate 16, then transitioned to 420, then to OMAD, and then to OMAD with occasional multi-day fasts. Based on that, I firmly believe this is the easiest way of becoming more metaphorically said food independent and hungerless, doing multi-day fasts as you please. Shameless plug. To learn more about it, I strongly suggest my first book, OMAD Gains, Practical Self-Help and Natural Bodybuilding. Interdisciplinary, the book includes research on and personal experience with fasting, training for bodybuilding, and spiritual development. Suppose you're interested in making the most out of your willpower without ever depleting it and understanding self-discipline not from an ideological but practical and science-based perspective. In that case, I offer my second book, Discipline or Something Else, Understanding the Mechanics of Self-Discipline and the Forces Behind it. The book includes plenty of the latest research on that, such as real-life stories and experience. How to break multi-day fasts. With all due respect to all the people pushing great information on fasting, I don't think breaking 2 to 3 day fasts with bone broth, let alone green juices, is mandatory or the only way to do it. If you're totally new to multi-day fasts, doing them as some of a challenge and or aren't a hard training athlete, then the liquid foods might be reasonable. On the other hand, if you have been on OMAD for years, incorporating such fasts occasionally, your body is likely used to larger refeeds with various macros. Those are natural to eat, just like fasting. Hopefully you also know what foods to eat, because I'm not covering that in this video. Personal experience. Truth be told, up until now I never broke a multi or any of my fasts with a bone broth or anything similar. The only prolonged fast I broke with the beef soup were those 3 days during my COVID week. I didn't do it because I followed some protocol. I did it because I felt my body needed it, plus I ensured the soup had plenty of meat, so it wasn't like a standard broth. My meal. Otherwise, I basically break all my fasts with what I typically eat in a given period as a creature of habit. Between 2014 and 2016, that was meats, eggs, sour cream and butter. Later, it alternated those days with lean meats, veggies and safe starches like sweet potatoes. Now it is a salad with lean chicken or lean fish or lean beef and white basmati or parboiled rice, as I'm starting the meal with large protein shake and 90 to 99% dark chocolate. Are longer fasts dangerous? Usually people are very opinionated regarding this one. On the contrary, I firmly believe multi-day fasts are perfectly safe and even natural. A month of fasting. When fasting, our bodies burn stored energy, making us leaner. It is said that the average person carries about 40,000 calories of stored body fat, which is an amount lasting for a month. Thereby, nothing bad will happen as long as your body already accesses those stores readily. If it would, there wouldn't be a program for fasting astronauts when sending them on missions. Angus Barbieri. Besides that, you can also consider religious practices like Ramadan, such as the story of Angus Barbieri. In 1965, Barbieri began a 382-day fast, during which he lost 272 pounds, which is almost 1.5 times my body weight, and I'm 6.4 and would call myself muscular. Multi-day fasts and training. I don't think multi-day fasts and training are mutually exclusive, and in fact, I think they go hand to hand. The longer you don't eat, the more your body accesses the stored energy. Experiencing that, many people report feeling invigorated and having more energy. Plus, resistance training makes the body mobilize more stored energy, and thus it facilitates your adaptation. It also helps preserve lean body mass. And to learn more about that, I suggest the works of Dr. Peter Attia. Personal experience. While doing double splits almost daily, I adopted 2 weekly 48-hour fasts during the winter of 2015. I didn't get any side effects or issues. Instead, I kept great mood and energy, having blood glucose levels of 4 to 4.6, which to me feels ideal. Your first multi-day fasts. If you're new to multi-day fasts, I suggest taking things slow and using the time to increase awareness of how fasting feels. The key is not pushing yourself to prove a point because of a pointless challenge on the internet. Instead is to succeed, becoming more attuned to your body. With that said, use the time to do just that, tracking your blood sugar levels and linking them to how you feel. This is very important during your first extended fasts. Also, drink plenty of spring water, preferably stored in food-grade stainless steel containers. Set reminders if needed, because proper hydration is crucial. Fasting and inner work. Considering that fasting boosts clarity, another good idea might be to reflect on your totality as a human being. You can do this by using mindfulness and meditation techniques if you are more of a new ager or a mystic, or some practical occultism if you seek what one of the greatest teachers defined as scientific illuminism. If the latter is true, I strongly suggest looking at my other channel, where I dive deep into topics like Hermetic Kabbalah and Magic with a K, through book reviews and breakdowns of techniques. And if you like tech reviews, please visit my tech channel, where I post unboxings of and experiences with the tech I use. Final words. I hope the covered information provided some valuable insights to Mikhail and anyone watching the video. Let me know what kinds of videos you'd like to see on this channel. How about book reviews covering topics related to those I discussed? I'd happily share some of the key ideas I learned from such reads. With all that, like this video as it helps the algorithm, subscribe for more content like this, consider checking my other content, books and music, including the tracks in this video. Support me if you can by using the provided links, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for your time.